The US is going through a major shift in demographics right now. Look around. Odds are you have many new neighbors, or perhaps it's you that's new to the hood. There's two main reasons we're moving around a lot right now: a tense political climate and a cost of living spike. More of us don't want to live in a state that's being run in ways we disagree with. And as you know, it's getting really expensive in many parts of this country. Some states lost a lot of people in the last decade, and it's a trend that's showing no signs of letting up. Places like West Virginia, New York, and California are losing a lot of residents to outbound migration. But there's no state losing more people right now than Illinois. I'm going to show you an example of what's happening in Illinois right now. We're going to visit a small, shrinking town in this state to see how things look and provide some context into why this state is losing so many people. This isn't the future of Illinois. It's happening right now. For the drive, I headed down to a small town of Ridge Farm, population 753. It was a sunny morning on the day after Thanksgiving in 2021. I'm going to use Ridge Farm as an example to illustrate the trend happening in small town America. Ridge Farm's population used to be several thousand people, but like tons of other tiny towns in the state, folks are leaving in big numbers. There's two main reasons people are leaving this state: high taxes and a lack of jobs. It's pretty easy to see why there aren't any jobs down here. There's really nothing around anymore these days, and a commute to a decent paying job is out of the question for most people. But the taxes are what's really driving people away. Illinois has the highest tax burden in the nation, where 15% of people's incomes are being eaten away by state taxes alone. The property taxes here are the highest in the nation at 2.16%, and that's double the national average. For a lot of people in a town like this, it could be $300 or $400 a month in property taxes alone. The average Illinois resident pays close to $5,000 a year in property taxes. Plus, gas taxes are the highest in the nation here too. People down here just can't afford it, nor can they justify it. They're hardworking, good people, and they understand most of their taxes go to support Chicago. Do you think these people care about Chicago? Do you think Chicago people care about them? And then you have the people up in the snobby Chicago burbs. They don't have it any easier. They're leaving too. If you're a high earner in the Chicago metro area, you're paying half your salary in taxes when you combine Illinois state taxes with federal taxes. Half. Rich people in Chicago are being taxed to death, and then folks in rural places like where we are now can't support themselves like they used to. Small-time farming is a thing of the past, people. This isn't the era of scrapping together a living raising crops. Times have changed. That was a long time ago. So where are these people going? Many are dying off and aren't being replaced. Once a kid's old enough, they take off as soon as they can. There's nothing for them here. What kid's going to want to grow up here and work at the hardware store or at the Five and Dime, or more likely Casey's or Dollar General? They're on TikTok all damn day, seeing other people having fun in big cities. A lot of the families, sick of the cost of living and the lack of opportunity, are being driven into nearby states. In Wisconsin, property taxes are 1.8%. In Iowa, they're 1.5%. In nearby Missouri and Indiana, property taxes are less than 1%. There was once a time when a small town in Illinois was thriving and a great place to be. Today, it's last one out, turn out the lights. Illinois has 300 cities with tiny populations, just like the one we're in right now. 300! And all of them are seeing major declines in population, just like Little Ridge Farm. One day, this place won't be here at all. It'll be completely gone. You can tell this was once a great place, thriving, booming. But it is not anymore. Got a little bar. But a lot of this stuff is empty. Nothing left. I got 2 bars. Every small town in Illinois needs 2 bars. course, mini churches. But that looks like it was a high school or something. Don't know what that was. One point, it's for sale. I don't know who's gonna buy that. But like, and you've got all this stuff, just houses just burned out. And of course, every small town in Illinois is going to have a Casey's at a dollar store. And as these old towns die off, this will be the only thing here. Maybe you guys haven't been in Casey's. Should we go inside Casey's really quick? You got to see this place. Let's go see Casey's for a sec. Casey.
Did you know Casey's is the 5th biggest pizza chain in the country?
What? No way, Mappy. I knew Casey's was in 16 states, but I didn't know they sold that much pizza. What's their best-selling pizza, Mappy?
Their breakfast pizza.
Oh, I've had their breakfast pizza. This is gonna sound like such a lie, but it's something that I can't believe's true. Came back to this place only yesterday to get a slice of your taste. Need you near me. Casey's Pizza is the life I needed. Casey's Pizza is the wake-up reason, and all I want is a piece of you. So as these small towns start to die, people move away and they get smaller and smaller. This place had 1,200 people, then there were 1,000, and then there were 800, and now there's like 720. I think every year they lose about 10 more people. So small towns like this, in 50 years there ain't gonna be anybody here. It's happening all over the state of Illinois. All right, everybody, right now, joining me is Chris Harden. You've probably seen his channel on YouTube. He does a lot of drives around the Midwest and checks out some small towns and big towns and everything else going on in the Midwest. What's up, Chris? You drive around and you see a lot of small towns in the Midwest and Illinois. I've seen your videos. What is your opinion on how these towns are going, where they're going and how they look right now and just the vibe out there?
Well, you can definitely tell that the taxes that the state implements has had a huge effect on all of these rural places. They already have a hard time attracting new people to move into those towns because they're rural and isolated, and that doesn't always appeal to the young professionals. So then when you add in these high taxes, you have other companies that don't want to move their operations into those towns when they expand, and they'll choose places in other nearby states such as Indiana or Kentucky and even Missouri. And you'll see that in Illinois, just about every small town, rural county, rural area has been losing population except for Champaign-Urbana, where the University of Illinois is, and Bloomington-Normal, where another state school is. So if you don't have a state school, you're kind of screwed in Illinois in a way. But you go over to Indiana and you'll see that there are towns in that state even not everywhere, but there are some towns that don't even have a public school, like a state school, college, that are able to, you know, economically do pretty well. But in Illinois, you just don't see that.
Mm-mm. But Illinois is losing people. I mean, more than any other state. People are leaving this state and they're going where it's warmer and cheaper. And you get these little towns that have 500, 600, 700 people. And then pretty soon they have 300 people, and then there's just nobody left. They're leaving Chicago because Chicago sucks. And their kids just don't want to grow up here. They grow up and get the hell out of here. They don't want to be out here in the middle of nowhere, small towns. Farming's not like it used to be. There's no manufacturing jobs out here. There's not a lot of blue collar work. It's a lot of retail. But who wants to commute 30, 45 minutes from here when you can go somewhere warmer? I went to a place called Ridge Farm, which is south of Danville, kind of like isolated a little bit on your way down to the southern part of the state. There's about 300 or 400 people in this town, and all over the place there's houses that are abandoned that look like lots where homes were once located. You can see boarded up, just small, the main street's boarded up. There's a Dollar General and a Casey's in all of these towns, and that's pretty much it. Do you feel like some of these towns are just going to be like gone one day?
Yeah, and that doesn't mean I'm rooting for these places to disappear or do bad, but I do. Cairo is what comes to mind. I mean, obviously that's an extreme example, but there are some other towns just north of Cairo that don't get talked about as much. Mounds and Mound City, I believe. Those places already look like they're gone, and they used to have populations of like 3,000 or 4,000. That's just what comes to mind when you mention, places that might not be here in 10 or 15 years. Alexander County is the county that Cairo is in. And I believe the county used to have 20,000 some people. Today it has only 5,000. And I saw something where between the 2010 and 2020 U.S. Census counts that Alexander County, Illinois lost a higher percentage of people than any other county in the country. And based off of the comments that I get from my videos, there's a lot of people in rural Illinois that know exactly what I'm talking about, and they see it happening. And obviously it's sad, and we wish it didn't happen, but that's what's happening there. And it shows in the US Census. The Chicago area, kind of staying stagnant right now. It's not necessarily growing, it's not shrinking. But like Metro Chicago, outside of that, the entire state is just kind of forgotten about by many people.
Mm-hmm. What kind of stuff do people say in the comments when you show some of the rural Illinois towns you drive through? What kind of stuff do you hear in the comments from people who live there?
It's a mix. It's sad. It's not what it once used to be. It's not living up to its potential. And then I'll have other people that are just mad. Oh, you don't live here. You don't get to talk about my place like that. You don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, okay. The data is showing that your town is losing population. So, put on the rose-colored glasses.
Hey, would you want to live here? It's a bunch of older folks. It's 99.95% white. There's 5 people in this town of 700 and something that I think 1 Pacific Islander and 4 Hispanics in this whole place. So it's a bunch of old white people. And once they die off, I can guarantee you nobody's going to replace them. And their houses will just go up, boarded up, be raised. There'll be 1 less person. 10 people a year. Yeah, the churches are close. I saw, churches. That was the one thing that stood out to me was when I was driving around, in this little small town, Ridge Farm. There were churches that were gone, and I was like, that's pretty much that's what's keeps those places together. That's like their one thing that they have. Used to be farming, and then now you get these farmers that come in and these industrial farms or the large scale farms that buy out the mom and pop farms. So the farms are disappearing, or the farm jobs are disappearing. Businesses are shutting down because there's nobody to support that. As people leave, but like the churches being shuttered and closed down, I was like, this is like all they really have left. I mean, that's their thing. Small town Illinois loves their churches.
Yeah, and I lived in rural Indiana for about 10 years of my life, so I mean, culturally, rural Indiana, rural Illinois, not much of a difference. Economically, I would say Southern Illinois, Central Illinois relied more on like coal mining and stuff. Even though there was some of that in Indiana, I would say it was a bigger presence in Illinois. So maybe that is also a factor into, why there's like nothing there now, because those coal mining jobs are just disappearing and in most cases are just completely gone. And that's what those towns' economy was built on to begin with. But yeah, like when your cultural places in these small towns, the few of them that there are, for these small towns, it's churches. And when you don't have your church anymore because nobody's going to church, and that just shows that people are continuing to move out. And without people, you can't sustain a community. You need, down to the basics, you need the tax dollars to support everything. And if you don't have the tax dollars, then it's just going to disappear.
We've pretty much covered the whole community. I mean, it's just sad. It's nothing but cornfields and abandoned houses. These were once nice homes. I mean, there were some happy times. This was a booming little town, manufacturing. Railroad ran through here. Lots of jobs, lots of excitement, lots of farming. And then you get these farms that consolidate. So there's not a lot of family farms anymore. The big guys buy out the little guys, and then you have one guy farming the whole area. So then the farmers leave, and then the implement stores leave, and all the support businesses leave, and then the gas stations leave, and then people start leaving themselves. And one day you have a few hundred people, no jobs. Once they die off, they are gone. So that's pretty much it. That's a look at an example of just one little teeny community in Illinois, and there's hundreds and hundreds of these where you've got places that are just shrinking every year, and they look exactly like this. Abandoned houses, folks leaving, surrounded by cornfields and a Casey's and 3 churches and 2 bars. That's every small town in Illinois. And one day this place will not be here at all. In 50, 60 years, there might be 10 people left in this place. Up and down the state. And there is no turning back. There's this place. These places will not ever recover. There's absolutely not a chance. Look at that church. I'd be surprised if that church is still open. It's Sunday. It's Sunday at 10:57 a.m. in a small town in Illinois, and it is closed. And you don't see that very often, or you didn't used to. Now you do. That might have been the high school. There is no solution to this. There is nothing you can do to fix this. Everyone's moving to big cities or out into the suburbs. They want newer homes. They want more modern. They want warmer and cheaper. Illinois, one of hundreds of communities that is slowly dying. The Casey's will be here. There might be 10 people left in this town, and they'll still have Casey's. You gotta have a Casey's. Here's town. This place has 200 people left. This is all. There's 2 streets in this town, possibly. And they're seeing the same thing down the road. There used to be 500 people in this town, and there's probably 80 left. I don't know, maybe 100. I'll have to look it up. It's called Olivet. Just a bunch of old white people that go to church on Sundays, but they have to drive even further now, apparently. I don't think there was a church open back in the place we were just at, and that's just sad because it is 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning and ain't nobody in church. It's cheap out here. You can buy land for $5,000. Some of these houses are probably $40,000, if that's what you're into. It's a simple life. There's just not a lot of takers on these homes when they go for sale. This place right here is probably worth $35,000, $40,000. That little Christmas display. That's nice. That's it. That's pretty much the whole town. Little teeny tiny town in the middle of Illinois. Just like the one down the road we just saw. Except they don't have a Casey's here. Casey's Pizza is the life I needed. Casey's Pizza is the wake up reason. And all I want is a piece of you. Hey everyone! So it's pretty clear by now that elected leaders aren't going to help you. If you don't like what you saw in this video, demanding change won't work. You're going to have to do it on your own. If you want to be safe and want your community to be a place where people want to live, you're going to have to clean the place up yourselves. You're going to have to work with your friends and neighbors to lower crime. Politicians clearly don't care as much anymore. It's up to us.
This is Sage, Nick's manager. This has been a Corner House Entertainment production.
And are you looking to move and need advice? I do consulting. That's right. I'll sit down and talk about where the next perfect place for you and your family should be. I do it all the time. Together, let's find you a new home that's safe and checks all your boxes. You can get my email in the description to find out how I can help you find your perfect relocation.